Hey everybody, Christian West here. I'm glad that you tuned in to What Would You Do? Welcome to the series of videos where Joe and I ask each other critical questions from the executive protection industry. If you like what you see, click here, like and subscribe. And if you have questions that you want us to answer or try to find a solution to, send them to us via email, text. You can find us on social media. I'm sure you have ideas, or you can post them here and we'll play along and take your question. So, welcome to What Would You Do? Season 2.
All right, Christian. So something I'd like to hear your opinion on the business side of things. Okay. Let's say you submit a bid for EP services to a company. And let's say this, just to give us some context, this is a new, what's going on right now with everybody building EP programs. They've never had EP before. They put out an RFP, you respond, you make it to the final couple, and you're presenting this, and they say, okay, well, the issue is you're the highest bid. Okay. Yeah. What do you do?
Believe it or not, that has actually happened quite a few times. Yeah. And I wish with all the RFPs that I put in, that I would ever get a chance to compete on quality. That never rarely happens, right? We always compete on pricing to get through the door, right? There's never anybody that comes to me and say, can you show me like your quality measurements and your quality kind of like calculations and all that. Pricing is always important.
Yeah.
And you know, with pricing, it's a kind of interesting thing because you can choose to do your pricing in a very easy way. And you can choose to do your pricing in a very complicated way. So it might be hard for people to see through what the actual thing costs, right? So if I get a chance to sit down with the client and talk about pricing, I would do my best to be really, really well prepared to have a discussion of what are we talking about? Are we comparing apples to apples, or do we just compare numbers? Because if I included everything in my numbers, they tend to be high. If my competitors didn't include everything in their numbers, they're probably lower. What kind of agents do you want?
Yeah, you got to make sure it's an apples
to apples, right? Training is a big thing. Equipment is a big thing. Startup costs is a big thing. But you also got to remember, at the end of the day, the clients want to keep the agents for as long as they want. So the agents has to be happy with where they want, right? Mm-hmm. And I think everybody who has experience in running a company and doing bids and whatever, they need to know their numbers well enough to what is their sweet spot, right? Because do you want to go down in price to get a client? In theory, none of us wants to do that. Have we done it? All of us do it all the time, right? And when you go down in price to get a client, does that affect the quality? Everybody says, no, it doesn't affect the quality, but does it really? And the other thing is also like, do you want this client, right? I mean, not every company is for every client. Unfortunately, people think it's like that, right? And we've all been guilty of it because I don't believe that there's one agent who's perfect for every client, right? Every client is different. Every client are different businesses. Every clients have different operational tempos and do different things. And everybody likes different things. I mean, if you want a Ford and you try to sell them a Ferrari, well, then it's probably not going to work, right? And it's important that you as a company, before you go down to the price that the other companies give, that you're comfortable doing that.
Yeah. Right. Well, I think it's honestly a really big part of it is what you said. You have to make sure it's apples to apples before you even talk about price.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I've come on to do is if they bring up price, you got to think about this ahead of time. You got to aspect that question, right? What if you're the highest? And they say, hey, well, you're the highest. So don't be defensive. And, but you change it into, yes, let's look at why that might be, a concern of yours. Are we looking at apples to apples? Our bid included, agents that have this training and yada, yada, yada. You can break it down. And go, so let's make sure that first we have apples to apples. Two, let's talk about, your budget. If your budget there's different budgets for everything, and you're kind of giving them that, like, do you want the Ford or Ferrari?
Yeah.
Let's first make that
Absolutely.
square. And then one big thing that I really learned was don't cut your price just to cut the price. What you can do is you can come in and sell them something, sell them all the bells and whistles, and say, okay, well, our price included all of this. The way we can lower the price is by removing some of these things. But you don't adjust your labor price. I made a big mistake of doing that one time, 2019. I underbid because I wanted it. I wanted that contract a lot. So I lowered my rates and everything. And when I asked them, I said, why did I lose a bid? I said it better than this, but I said, why did I lose a bid? They basically explained, well, there was this freaking guy that showed up in a black t-shirt and told us about quality. That's 2019. That was the solution. And I was like, I went straight for price, and they didn't like that.
No,
and they liked the whole quality approach.
Well, it's kind of funny, and I talked about it at the beginning, right? Because you see all these RFPs, and they line up all of these things, but it's very rare that anybody ever asks how you can prove what the quality of your services are.
How do I know it's good?
Exactly. So that's kind of how I would try to do the educational section on. And yeah, you can cut 5-10% here, but is it really what you want to do?